Song for a Whale, Chapter 3. Even though electronics is a science-y thing, science was the one class where I wasn't reading about it on the sly. Usually I paid attention to what was going on in there because I liked science and my teacher, Sophia Alamila. I even liked the way her name rolled off my hand like a wave when I spelled it out. Miss Alamila wrote the letters HZ on the board. "Remember what this stands for?" she asked. A few hands went up, and Miss Alamila called on me. I spelled out HERTZ, and Mr. Charles voiced Hertz for her and the class. "That's right," said Miss Alamila. "And what does it measure?" "The frequency of sound." I wondered why Ms. Alamila was reviewing frequencies. We'd taken a test on it months ago. I found something that ties in nicely with what we're studying now. She said, as if she'd heard from me. "It's about a special whale, and you'll see why the frequency of his song is important." Ms. Alamila pressed some keys on the computer at her desk, and her eyeglasses reflected the video that played. The projector screen in front of the room showed a big blue square with no signal in the one corner. I was heading to Miss Alamila's desk even before she signed, "Please help," to me. After restarting the video and pausing it, I connected the computer to the projector signal, then clicked on the CC at the bottom of the screen to turn on the closed captioning. The video started out with a whale swimming in the ocean. Because of the captions, I could read the words on the screen instead of from Mr. Charles' hands. The dark gray blue body of the whale filled up the screen, his tail waving up and down. The narrator in the video talked about a whale called Blue 55 who swam around by himself and not in a pod like most whales. As far as anyone knew, it had always been that way. He didn't have any friends or a family to swim with or talk to. He was a type of baleen whale, the kind that ate plankton and small fish, not the kind with teeth that ate squid and seals. But he was a hybrid. His mother was a blue whale, and his father was a fin whale. "The problem," said the narrator, "is Blue 55's unique voice. Most whales call out at a frequency of 35 hertz and lower, while this lonely whale's sounds are around 55 hertz. Only about 20 hertz off, but it made a big difference. He was speaking a language that only he knew. Furthermore, his song is in a unique pattern. Even if other whales can hear him, they don't understand what he's saying. Blue 55 likely couldn't communicate with his own parents." My stomach tightened into a ball. I wanted another whale on the screen to swim up to Blue 55, or at least look at him. The strange calls of Blue 55 were first detected by naval sonar in the late 1980s. Marine biologists figured out what was making the sounds and why the whale was all alone in the ocean. I didn't notice until the words on the screen blurred that my eyes were watery. Mr. Charles handed me a tissue from his pocket. Maybe I'd sniffed or something. "Allergies," I signed, without looking away from the video. The narrator went on to say that researchers from a marine sanctuary had tried to put a tracker on Blue 55 the year before so they could follow his migration pattern, which was also weird and unlike other whales. They did get a sample of his skin to test. That was how they figured out his parents had been different species. Before they could attach the tracker to him, He dove down and swam away. He wouldn't need to resurface for a breath for another 20 minutes. Without a tracker on him, the only way anyone ever knew where he was from underwater microphones that picked up his song. I didn't remember standing up, but when the video ended and Ms. Alamila started talking, I had to look down to see Mr. Charles. Everyone's eyes were on me as I slid back down into my chair. My textbook was on the floor. I must have knocked it off my desk when I stood up. I left it at my feet. Can you imagine that? Ms. Alamila asked. Swimming around for all those years, unable to communicate with anyone? Yes. She said something else about frequencies, but I wasn't paying attention anymore. I looked through Mr. Charles as if I could still see the whale on the screen. Blue 55 didn't have a pod of friends or a family who spoke his language. But he still sang. He was calling, and no one heard him.